Alright, now here is probably the game with the most to analyze from this week. The other games were just so one-sided. There just wasn't really much to say on either side. Garret, I think that you initially make a pretty big mistake here, choosing to essentially trade Steelix with Chansey, or at least trade a lot of damage on Steelix with Chansey, because Chansey is not very scary for you. Like, you don't really care. Like, you should just be entering into Heracross or something that can like actually like threaten to kill this in a reasonable time frame. But instead, now our only defensive check to Dragonite and Metagross is at 15%, and we'll re-enter and be at 8%. Also, we shouldn't really be losing this 1v1 here. This is a nice mid-ground from Jenny on the Ice Beam. Might just be the only attacking move, honestly. I don't like Shadow Ball Latios. I don't really know, or Latios. I don't really know what this is looking to accomplish. Like, this doesn't even do as much damage as Draco Meteor does, right? In this position. So I don't like that. And now the game is pretty much over, Garret, because you just have, I would say, kind of grossly misidentified the way that you should be using your Pokemon here. We need to be using Chansey as setup fodder for Heracross, which we didn't do. Instead, we basically killed our Steelix to kill the Chansey. And it's a tough position. I don't fully know how to deal with Mew. I guess if we have Crunch for Alligator, maybe this is plan A. I also hate the Sandstorm, by the way. Because Sandstorm, I guess it was actually not the worst move ever, but it just using Earthquake would have outdamaged it here. Also, I don't understand this one. We bring, but I guess you're just kind of out of options at this point. But again, you still kind of need Tangrowth to answer these physical threats. But the issue is now we're getting just completely destroyed by Florges. Which ideally we would have had Mega Steelix for this, right? But we chose to trade Mega Steelix for Chansey, essentially. Yeah. We have Whimsicott, but it just gets O-code. We enter for Alligator, it dies to Rocks. Now he's at 12. We need to be really critically thinking about what our Pokemon's roles are in this game. And what is Steelix's role? Steelix's role is to get Rocks up, for sure. I think that this was correct. But then after this, Steelix's role is stopping Metagross and Dragonite, potentially. Now, I don't know if it's actually that good at that, to be honest, but it's certainly a better use for it than the way that we end up using. Also, potentially stopping Florges as well, actually, and providing you someone that can maybe switch into Mamoswine a couple times. At least once. I guess Sandstorm, I don't know. It's so strange to be running Sandstorm with your team, because Jenny actually has more Pokemon than you do that are immune to Sandstorm Chip. So I don't really understand why we bring that. Jenny, by the way, you're doing great here. If Garret wants to trade damage on Chansey and Steelix, you should be pretty happy about that because Chansey's pretty useless. I don't think you should have brought Chansey, for what it's worth. I don't think you should almost ever be bringing Chansey. But yeah. Is this Life Orb? Yeah, it's Life Orb. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we should know that this doesn't kill. And we know that we're just dying to the Ice Beam. I guess, like, maybe getting that progress with Latios in that position is the best you can do. I guess this must be Choice Band. I don't know why we crunch on this turn. Just give the free Calm Mind. And then we go to Tangrowth, and I guess the plan is just sack it. But yeah, I mean, the game is over essentially from this point. I guess it makes some sense to just sack the Tangrowth. I think I would have preferred to see you sack the Steelix. We probably get very lucky that this doesn't just kill, and this Pokemon doesn't just sweep from this point. But yeah, I mean, not your... A lot of room for improvement in this battle, Garret. Jenny, you played solidly. Basically, you know, this was a good example of a game that was kind of over within 15 turns. So let's just review turn by turn each play. And also the team compositions. Team composition-wise, don't love this team, Garret, but it's acceptable. Not that bad. I don't really understand what Whimsicott's role is here. Is like kind of the big one that's jumping out at me. And I think I would much rather see you using Mega Latios to Mega Steelix, but I guess you did first pick Mega Steelix, so I understand trying to justify it. Sandstorm, this is a waste of a turn. Basically, you just let Steelix take 30% here, so that you can deal almost nothing to Chansey. Alright, I guess it does end up dealing probably like 30% total, so it's still not as good as an Earthquake. Jenny, again, I don't want to be trading damage here. I think that we should be letting Heracross use Chansey as setup fodder, but I digress. Jenny, you do a good job at recognizing the turn when you should just get the damage out and stop trying to heal. We waste another turn on Sandstorm. I guess it does technically get a KO here. We swap Latios in here because you have the plan of Shadow Balling it, which is a bad plan. You shouldn't be running Shadow Ball on Latios. Actually, I guess it's not the worst coverage here because it does hit Metagross, huh? Okay, I don't hate Shadow Ball. I'll revise that. I think Shadow Ball is fine. That being said, I would much prefer if we had Recover and Calm Mind on our Latios to give it good longevity. Unfortunately, we actually don't have longevity because of the Sandstorm that you decided to impose upon your team, which was terrible. Don't use Sandstorm. This should have been Draco Meteor because that would have done more damage. I don't love the plan of just sacking the Latios either. But what can you do? This is like kind of your most important Pokemon. So We get the KO on Mew, but the issue is that at this point, we have nothing that can stop Jinny's offensive threats. They have made way too much progress. Just these kind of benign defensive Pokemon have crippled Steelix and outright killed Latios, which is a disaster. I know technically you're up 5-1 here, right? But the position as a whole is completely doomed because we have no answer for all of these threats. And then these threats just tear through. I don't hate sacking Tangrowth here. I think I probably would have preferred sacking Steelix, but I think you identified that the right play was to find a stack so that we can re-enter with Feraligatr. We probably get a little lucky, like I said. But, yeah. I don't like swapping here because we have Stealth Rocks, so we're just like letting Heracross get chipped when Heracross is like more or less our only hope in this game. So not great. Not that even Heracross is that much of a hope, given Mamoswine and Dragonite have extreme speed. Let's take a look at your roster, Garret. So, okay, Steelix and Latios, Heracross, I think that these are the right Pokemon to be bringing. I don't think we should be bringing Whimsicott. I don't know, I guess you don't have that many great options, but I think that the way that you lost here, never really having hope in this game, could have played a lot better and could have brought a better configuration. So I think if you end up making the playoffs and playing Ginny, you really need to go back to the drawing board here. Mega Heracross is also a good option. Honestly, maybe I'd prefer you bring Mega Heracross. I like bringing Tangrowth. Part of me wants to say you should bring Raikou, but it wouldn't have been great in this particular game because Jenny really stacked up on special walls, which is why Heracross was probably the most important mon for you. I think that bringing some kind of Dragon Dance Salamence is kind of interesting too, but we just need more offensive threat on our team. Feraligatr provides very little in the way of that. I guess it does provide you with some amount of priority, which is not the worst, but yeah, not just a lot to be improved on from this game. Think about what our Pokemon's roles are. Let's not waste turns using Sandstorm, and let's capitalize on setup opportunities. These are concepts that I've talked about already: the importance of time, the importance of free turns, and using Pokemon as setup fodder. We need to be employing these in the real games.